right to breaking news from Jerusalem's gate. We got some serious news, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not trying to sugarcoat it or anything, but there's some strong languages just breaking with Erdogan with Turkey and Assad with Syria regarding U.S. and U.S.-backed forces. I tell you what, it's very, 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 very strong language they're using against the United States. So let's go ahead and divulge into the article right now. What do you say?
Welcome to another broadcast of Jerusalem's Gate. I tell you what, it's we don't know who's on whose side anymore. It's gotten so confusing. It's 1 minute you think somebody's an ally, the next minute there's somebody else's allies, and is it a camouflage? Is it true? There's so much deception, and the Bible talks about there'd be deception in the latter days. Coming out of Jerusalem's Post, Erdogan with Turkey. Erdogan, quote, he will, quote, strangle U.S.-backed forces in Syria, quote, before it's even born. That's a pretty strong statement from Erdogan to the United States of America. I don't know who's Erdogan's side's, what side he's on. Very strange situation there. Very, very, very. But there's a lot of cunning craftiness where men lay in wait to deceive in these latter days. Let's go into the article. A country we call an ally is insisting on forming a terror army on our borders. What can that terror army target but Turkey? And there's Erdogan himself. Let's get into the article. Beirut, Istanbul. Turkey's Tayyip Erdogan threatened on Monday to, quote, strangle a planned 30,000 strong U.S.-backed force in Syria, quote, before it's even born, as Washington's backing for Kurdish fighters drove a wedge into relations with one of its main Middle East allies. The United States announced its support on Sunday for plans for a, quote, border force to defend territory held by U.S.-backed Kurdish-led fighters in northern Syria. The Syrian government of President Bashar Assad responded on Monday by vowing to crush the new force and drive U.S. troops from the country. Pretty strong words there. That's some strong, strong, strong words. Back to the article. Assad's ally, Russia, called the plans a plot to dismember Syria and place part of it under U.S. control. But the strongest denunciation came from Erdogan, who has presided as relations between the United States and its biggest Muslim ally within NATO have stretched to the breaking point. Quote, a country we call an ally is insisting on forming a terror army on our borders. Erdogan said of the United States in a speech in Ankara, quote, what can that terror army target but Turkey? Now, you know, this is, you know, 1 minute Turkey is on our side, 1 minute Turkey is on Russia's side. But, you know, it's, Turkey is the one that's advancing his troops and taking positions. So it's very confusing. I know it's very confusing. I truly believe the Kurds have a right to have their own state. Now, where that state is, where will it lie, and what boundaries will it partake? I have no idea. But all this, these countries joining with other countries is actually fulfilling a prophecy. It fulfills prophecy to the right to the letter. Let's go to the scriptures. Matthew 24:7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in divers places. Now, kingdom against kingdom here, what I believe that is nations joined together by treaty with other nations joined together by treaties will war. Kingdom against kingdom. It was seen in World War I, it was seen in World War II, and you're seeing it starting to form in the latter days, as the prophets foretold. But you know, this is this is something that the Kurds have been abandoned by everybody, and if it wasn't for the Kurds, ISIS would not have been defeated. Everybody agreed that the Kurds were the greatest fighting force on the ground against ISIS, and they've been gassed by Saddam Hussein many years ago. When Saddam Hussein was in control of Iraq, and they've been betrayed by many nations, and I think they rightfully owed a state of their own. Again, what boundaries that partakes, I'm not an expert, so I can't divulge in that. But I think that the Turkish people, the Kurdish people, rather should have their own home state. I really do believe that. And hey, my brothers and sisters, look, I'm not trying to say anything other than the fact that nations or kingdom are gathered against kingdom and nation against nations. So it's the prophecies being fulfilled right before your very eyes. Right before your very eyes. It's prophecies taken and being fulfilled. Almost on a daily basis, sometimes on an hourly basis. With that being said, keep your eyes on Erdogan. He's for some reason, I don't know whose side he's on, but time will tell. I do not know much about the man, just from studying him from the news. I don't know his personal beliefs, but he's saying some very strong language against the United States, some very strong language. So is Assad in Syria, very strong language. But we'll see what happens. We'll keep a track of this, and as I get the information, I'll give it to you. It's going to be a little short, brief video today. We pray that you are doing good. We hate to be the bearer of bad news again, but we're here to tell you the truth as it's reported. With that being said, shalom, everybody. God be with you. Thank you.